Saubo na mema wonajo antire sanu indewo jambo molo ekale. Greetings to you in various African dialects. So I want to talk about things that I've sit down and done analysis about that I would suggest to fellow Africans and also African leaders that they can put into practice, and it's going to help the African continent. First of all, I've come to a realization that healthcare is a problem really in our continent as Africa. And I've realized this trend is that most of our hospitals, they have not, invest the resources for it to provide enough for it to they have not invest a lot in our healthcare for it to be beneficial to African people in general. So whenever an African is sick, the African has to go to Europe, India, Bangladesh, whatever country you can name it, for concerning healthcare issues. I've realized that into and unemployment. I mean, if you talk about Africans when it comes to intellectual, if you talk about civilization, kingdoms upon kingdoms, you reach African history, the type of knowledge our forefathers had and what they were using it to build their various kingdoms and also nations. And if we can look back to what they did and we put that into practice, it's going to help us a lot. And the thing is that unemployment really is a problem in the continent of Africa. That when an African youth finish school, in reality, he has no future. There's no way he think that there's no way in their mind, there's no way they see a future in Africa for them. So they have to try unnecessary means to get to the diaspora, Europe, Arabian countries. And I've read stories and also watched the news that many young people have lost their life in the search of greener pastures. And my question is, our African leaders, what are you doing? Now the country, like leaders ruling our country, have treated our country into what they call their throne. So they just rule like they own the country, like they are kings, and they rule it however they want. And they don't want to hear nothing from nobody. They do whatever they think is right. They do whatever they think is going to be beneficial for them and their families. And they don't care about African citizens. Look at what is going on in Ghana. Look at what is going on in Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, Somalia, Ethiopia, Djibouti, Sudan, Liberia, Sierra Leone, Burkina Faso, Mali, Chad, Niger, Mali. I'm gonna mention the countries. It's gonna take much of my time. What are African leaders doing? And the sad thing is, African leaders are desperate for votes, and they'll do whatever it takes to get a vote. But when they are elected into power, then I'll tell you, that's kids die. They don't care. They don't really care, and all they care about is how they can benefit from the resources that they have, the resources that they're supposed to invest to help the African continent. They are spending it on themselves, their families, and their side chick, and the list goes on and on. So now, ruling the countries like they are having their own empire. And apart from that, I want to talk about the youth situation. If we talk about stuff that's going to be beneficial for Africa, there's a whole lot. I mean, we have young people that if government reach out to them and bring them into the scene, they can be a huge blessing to their various African countries. But African leaders don't think like that, and that's really sad. Look at the wars going on in Rwanda, Congo. As for Rwanda issue, now Rwanda is getting a little bit better, but in the past Rwanda was worse, especially the Tutsis and Hutu, the genocide that was going on. It's a whole lot, but it's hard time Africans wake up and sit down together and think how to solve the solution in our countries, our various countries. And there are crooked and bandits going on, parading themselves as CS in Africa. That some people use a form of what they call a higher power or having spiritual abilities, and they use that as crooked and for their bandit activities. And it's sad that innocent people fall into that. Innocent people fall into their hands, and it's very sad that they misuse them. They misuse them, manipulate them, promising them stuff them themselves can't even if they have it as a goal, themselves cannot even achieve that a goal. So my people, it's hard time we wake up as a continent, unite, sit down and form a circle and ask ourselves, what do you think we should put into practice that is going to be beneficial for the African continent? Next subject, tourism. I'm originally from Ghana. I come from the southern part of Ghana. Look at what is going on in Ghana. There's some southern parts that have been abandoned that the government can invest in it, and it can be a tourist site. Look at some parts in the northern part of Ghana, but our leaders are not thinking about that too. Nigeria. Look at the southern part of Nigeria. There's a lot of places that the government can invest for tourism purpose. The northern part of Nigeria, same thing. The whole of Africa, both south and northern parts, same thing. But the leader turned deaf ears. And it has come to a time that people are being intimidated. Whenever a young person, or not only a young person, whenever a person who speaks the truth stand out and speak, and then they are being persecuted, they are being tracked down, and they want them to face the music. They want to punish them for just speaking the truth. And there's this fear going on that lions have turned into an animal, and not an animal as in an animal, like a barking dog, like they bark, and when you take the stone to throw, and then they run away or keep quiet. That's how the lion and lioness of Africans have turned into. They don't speak anymore. Look at corruption. Corruption is not today's issue. And to be honest with you, I'm not saying doom things, but if you are not careful, these corruption issues, it will be worse than before. So it's hard time we have to fight against corruption. I'll find time and then I'll talk about a lot of stuff. And also our language. What are we doing to preserve our indigenous languages? Most of our languages in Africa is fading away. in Ghana, Nigeria, Togo, Benin, Kenya, a lot of African countries, our indigenous language is fading away, and our culture as well. The culture aspects a whole lot. Yeah, a whole lot that I can even talk about. I'll end this one here, and then I'll continue next time. Stay blessed. Bye.